How are we doing, guys? Always to be Leeds 1, Leicester 4 post-match review. So guys, it wasn't great today. It wasn't great, to say the least. I don't think 4-1 was quite a fair reflection of the game. I thought Leicester obviously deserved to win the game, but I'm not sure there was 3 goals difference between the two teams. But end of the day, I can't have any complaints about where the 3 points went. I just can't, to be fair. And I think it's the first kind of blow we've had all season. I think against Liverpool, Wolves, obviously we lost both games, but for me, we were very competitive in those 2 games. I think for 90 minutes we were very much in both of those games. But tonight, I never really felt we were in that tonight for large spells of the game. Certainly first half, as the game kind of developed. Second half, I think sort of first 20 minutes when we got the early goal back, we kind of started to compete, but we just weren't really ever kind of in that tonight for me. And it's disappointing from that point of view, but let's not forget, Leicester were a team that almost finished in the top 4 last season, very nearly finished in the top 4 last season, and they're going to be really pushing for it again this season. There's no doubt about that for me. And they've got quality players on that football pitch. They've got quality players on that pitch. James Maddison came on today. Under came on today. They're players that walk into most teams in this league. So you've got to keep perspective at the end of the day. I'm very big on perspective, and we've just got to keep that. But let's not forget, it has been a bit disappointing tonight. There were certain things we did tonight that really gifted Leicester moments that we just could not afford to gift a team of that quality, and that's disappointing from that point of view. But I think to start off with, I've made a lot of notes on this game. I think the big thing to start off with was our change to a 4-1-4-1 shape. We went for 4-2-3-1 against Villa. Obviously initially we went for 4-1-4-1. We had Stewart playing defensive midfield, and then obviously against Villa, Stewart came off, Shackleton came on, and went to sort of a 2 holding midfielders to an extent. Click and Shackleton both kind of trying to screen the back 4. But tonight we went for something a little bit different. Obviously we had Rodrigo missing, so we didn't really have the option to play right next to Bamford. And tonight we decided to bring in Pablo back in. Obviously Coops came in for Alioski, and essentially Pablo was playing a totally different role to what Rodrigo played for the team. Rodrigo was playing almost as a second striker last couple of games for Leeds. Pablo was playing kind of deeper, more as a number 8. Shackleton was pushed up, and we kind of had Pablo, Shackleton both playing as number 8s to an extent, and Click as a holding midfielder. And for me, it didn't work for a number of reasons really. I think the first reason, the most obvious reason, was defensively. I think Matthijs Click is superb off the ball, but I think it's a totally different task being asked to be a holding midfielder as a single pivot, where you've got no help to the side of you. The only help is in front of you, and that's a tough ask. That's a tough ask. You're so reliant on Jamie Shackleton pressing well, Pablo pressing well, and ultimately Leicester just found it too easy to get through us. And I'll go on to that in a second. So from that point of view, it was very tough for Matthijs Click asking him to perform that role. It's tough for Calvin Phillips performing that role so far this season. It's going to be even tougher for Matthijs Click. So I thought that was a mistake, and it's very rare for me to criticise any decisions by Marcelo Bielsa, but I was surprised by that tonight. I was surprised by that decision. I did think as to how well Click and Shackleton did in the same kind of areas against Villa to kind of push Shackleton up. I just did think it was a bit of a mistake tonight, and I'm only being honest, guys. I'm only being honest, and I can see why we did it. Look, Leicester went for 3-4-2-1. As kind of expected. Obviously had Justin, Fofana, Fuchs in a back 3, Tielemans, Mendy sitting, Albrighton, Thomas as the wing backs, and then Pratt, Barnes, Vardy as the front 3. And essentially Leicester under Brendan Rodgers conventionally try and play out the back. Tonight, I think the big thing is tonight, you saw something from Leicester that suggests that they valued us as a team. They saw us as a team and thought, they're a threat, And I think our biggest strength so far this season has been our press. How well we've pressed teams. How well we've just worked, just stressed teams out to an extent. Just got in their faces and made it really difficult for them to play through us. Because in a sense, Leicester didn't even attempt to play out the back tonight. Most of the time when Kasper Schmeichel picked up the ball, he was playing it long into Vardy and Barnes. And I'm not criticising that, I'm just using that as a positive for us. They saw our press as that much of a threat that they decided, you know what, we're not going to try and play through it. We're going to play long, over the top, and try and get Vardy and Barnes in a foot race with our back 4, because it's a foot race that Vardy or Barnes is always going to win. So from that point of view, you have to give credit to Leicester and Brendan Rodgers. They set it up well, and they could totally nullified our press. We could not press them because they just simply played the ball over the top and just tried to bypass our press all the time. So, you know, the idea was essentially, I think, before going into this game, expecting Leicester to play out at the back. You had Shackleton there, a bit higher up the pitch than what he was against Villa, because Shackleton is just an engine. He can go out and press next to Bamford, like Rodrigo was doing, and go from that point of view. And I can see why Marcelo Bielsa did that. But it just didn't work. It just didn't work because Leicester tactically changed stuff up. I think Rodgers expected it, and we just got to learn from that. And Marcelo Bielsa will learn from that. He will learn from that. There's no doubt about that at all. So I won't go too much into that. You know, I think obviously looking at Leicester, how they tried to play, it wasn't just long balls all the time, but very much they wanted to get that ball out of their third as quickly as possible because they didn't have many good ball-playing centre-backs in that team. So from that point of view, and yeah, they got it spot on. You know, they got it spot on. They launched the ball forward, and everyone just pushed up. You know, Mendy, Tielemans got on the ball loads in our half of the pitch, and we're getting the ball in dangerous areas because of that. You know, they launched the ball into Vardy. One of two things happened. Vardy either got onto the long ball, or Vardy didn't get onto the long ball, but he pressed and won the ball back, and that's what kind of happened for us in that first sort of half of the game. But let's not forget, you know, we probably had the first big chance of the game, or we did have the first big chance of the game. Obviously, Patrick Bamford, brilliant move. Obviously, held Costa, puts the ball into the box. Jackie Harrison heads it back across, and Patrick Bamford should do better. He should, at the very least, probably get a bit more power on it. But it's one of those chances. You know, I'm not going to criticise Patrick Bamford. He's been superb this season for us. And it's just one of those chances. You know, Jamie Vardy missed chances tonight. It happens. Strikers miss chances. We have to get over that. We missed a chance. And obviously Leicester, you know, go up the other end, and we make a real bad mistake. You know, it is a bad mistake from so many different points of view. You know, the back four shape wasn't particularly good. Robin Koch tries to play it back to Meslier. You can see what he's trying to do. Different conditions, it probably gets straight through to Meslier. It holds up a bit because how wet everything was. You know, the ball wasn't running as it normally would, so and it doesn't get there. And obviously Vardy nicks in front of Meslier, and it's a goal. You know, he squares it back to Barnes, and yeah, Leicester take full advantage and fair play to him. But it was a big mistake of us. And after that, we just seemed a bit unnerved after that point. We just didn't really show anything after that, and it felt like Leicester really got on top of us. Again, possession stats will show we had a lot of the ball, but really Leicester was so efficient with it. You know, Leicester were happy for us to have the ball because they knew they'd get it straight back because we were giving the ball away in such bad areas. Really bad areas. You know, I think at times Luke Ayling in the first sort of 10-15 minutes was getting the ball on the halfway line, and he's playing it sideways or backwards, and it doesn't sound like that big a deal, but you don't see Luke Ayling do that very often. More often you see Luke Ayling play the ball forward or travel with the ball. Very rarely go sideways. He wants to make things happen himself, and that was not necessarily a fault of Luke Ayling. I just think it was a case of the whole team was nervous. You know, the whole team was just trying to keep the ball desperately, but we were just sloppy in possession. It's as simple as that. It wasn't really anything tactically to that. Leicester weren't pressing us. We were just making our own unforced mistakes. You know, it wasn't Leicester fiercely pressing us like Liverpool did. It was nothing like that. You know, it was just we made unforced errors, and that was disappointment. That was a real disappointment for us, you know, to make this unforced errors. You know, if you're going to make mistakes or concede goals against Leicester, make sure it's moments of quality rather than mistakes from us, and that was kind of not really what happened for most of the game. The second goal is very disappointing. Very disappointing, the second goal. Stuart Dallas lets the cross in far too easy for me. Robin Koch loses the header to Jamie Vardy. Not good. And Matthijs Klick doesn't follow Tielemans into the box. It was a comedy of errors really from us. It was really poor defending from us. Hopefully the worst goal we'll concede all season. I think it will be, to be fair. But yeah, you know, to be fair, Leicester, you know, Tielemans makes a late run into the box, and we just didn't seem. It was totally uncharacteristic for us. You know, that's the thing. You know, I can get really angry about it, but not really, because I know it's uncharacteristic for us. You know, I think we've just punished for every mistake we made by a really good team. You know, I don't think many teams will be that clinical this season, and they just were, and that's why Leicester are doing so well. You know, they just, yeah, they're a good team. They are a really good team. And just looking more at the notes here, you know, I think the 4-1-4-1 shape for us, the only real natural number 8 we have in this squad at the moment is Matthijs Klick, and so for me to play 4-1-4-1, you've got to play Matthijs Klick higher up the pitch. You know, you have to have a natural number 8 in there. To play a possession-based 4-1-4-1, you've got to have someone who can take the ball in different pockets of space, any area of the pitch, turn with the ball, receive the ball at all angles. You have to have someone like that for me. And Matthijs Klick is the only player in the squad who can do that. And there's not many players in the league who can, who have that kind of feeling for a game. Especially at this kind of end of the table, outside the top 6, there's not many midfielders like that. And for me, Shackleton and Hernandez, obviously, I rate both players absolutely massively. They're absolutely superb players. But for me, that's not their game so much. Jamie Shackleton's a box-to-box player. Pablo Hernandez is a creative player. They're not players who can just pass a team off the pitch. Matthijs Klick is the only player in this team who can do that. And he's done that this season. So for me, it was disappointing not to see Matthijs Klick pushed up the pitch. And we just didn't really get the control in the game that we could have done as a result of that. So it was disappointing. Matthijs Klick had to stay disciplined because he was playing as only holding midfielder. He didn't have someone to cover him if he pushed forward. And whenever he did push forward, we were very vulnerable because we didn't have anyone covering. So it was disappointing from that point of view. But to be fair, look, players are dropping like flies for us at the minute. We have got a lot of players missing. We've got £100 million worth of talent missing at the minute. So let's not get too critical. It was just the only thing was, I just thought maybe Stuart probably could have come in at some point. Or we could have maybe just gone to the shape we did against Villa. But we didn't do it. We didn't do it because we anticipated Leicester to do what they normally do. And Leicester changed their game plan. So I'll rather credit Brendan Rodgers rather than criticise Bielsa, because that's the right thing to do, and that's 100% the correct thing to do, because that's what happened in the game, guys. But yeah, I think, look, we were sloppy from the start of the game, we were sloppy from the start, but in the second half, we got better. We did get better in the second half. I know we all ultimately went on to lose by a higher margin, but Leicester just punished us on the counter. We were too slow sometimes. We were too slow with the ball. Everyone wanted kind of 4 or 5 touches, even when we got into good spells of the game. And Leicester were compact. Leicester were very compact off the ball. They made it very difficult for us to play through. Brendan Rodgers has actually gone to say after the game that he wanted to make us sure where there's little space to play in as possible. We couldn't get the combinations going. We couldn't get the ball into Bamford. We couldn't get the ball into Pablo. We couldn't get the ball into Roberts. Whoever was playing, Jack Harrison went into sort of like a number 10 role in the second half, and we just could not get the ball into enough in dangerous areas. We didn't move it around quickly enough. We didn't move Leicester's, block enough. We didn't get Leicester, we didn't turn Leicester around enough. We didn't get the, we're so reliant on width in this team, in terms of Harrison and Costa, to provide that width and go at players one-on-one and create chances from that, either crossing the ball into the box or getting shots off. And for me, we didn't really isolate, Harrison against Albrighton, Costa against Thomas a couple of times maybe, but not enough of that for me today. Even Poveda came on. Poveda was lively, but again, not enough of that. No real serious danger. We didn't really create any serious danger. We had, I think, 67% of the ball tonight. Leicester obviously had 33% of the ball, but for me, Leicester probably created a lot more than us. Leicester were a lot more decisive in possession than us. They were a lot more efficient. When they got the ball, they created some really good chances. I think they had 8 or 9 shots on target today, so that shows they really were efficient with the ball tonight. And Matthijs had to make some good saves, albeit. And yeah, obviously, I know we've had chances. We have had chances, to be fair. Pablo's hit the bar, and we've had a good spell, but we still didn't move the ball around quickly enough, and it just didn't quite seem right tonight. It didn't ever really look 100% tonight for me, and that's disappointing from that point of view. But let's not panic. Let's not panic too much, because Leicester, for me, will be pushing for the top 4 this season. And in the second half, we pressed brilliantly. We did press brilliantly in the second half. We can say we lost the game 4-1, but we still pressed really well in that second half. We still started to sustain a bit of pressure. And we did start to stop the ball into Vardy. Obviously, as the game went on, we had to push up a little bit more. We had less and less defensive cover. And any moment of quality, and Vardy was through on goal. And then we had to play with that high risk, to be fair. But yeah, we did start to press well. We did start to force Leicester into mistakes. And you saw that with the change in kind of possession. I think at times in that second half, I can't remember the exact stat. I think for the first 20 minutes of that second half, I think the 5% of the ball was in our half of the pitch. So that kind of sums it up, doesn't it? We were playing the game a lot more on our terms in that second half. So that was a positive from that point of view. Maddison came on. Maddison was brilliant. Maddison was absolutely superb. He plays a massive part in the third goal. The third goal is just absolutely superb off Leicester. You know, it's absolutely superb off Leicester, to be fair. And yeah, Maddison played a big part, you know, in changing the kind of flow of the game. And ultimately, Leicester went on to win comfortably. And I can't have any grudges against Leicester. They deserved to win the game. We made mistakes in the game. Made some big mistakes in the game. I'm not sure it was a penalty, but it was given. We did make mistakes though, and Leicester were probably the better team on the day. Well, definitely the better team on the day. But yeah, the result makes it look worse than it was. You know, it wasn't a 4-1 game for me. You know, we faced a striker tonight who, for me, is among the top 5 in the world. He's absolutely superb. Is Jamie Vardy. Harvey Barnes is a brilliant player. We've faced a good team tonight, and we've just got to accept that, you know, they were able to sit in compact. They did a similar thing to us to what they did against Man City, and it works for them. You know, it works for them. They're a high-scoring team. You know, they're always going to score goals, and it's just what they do. And we were punished for our mistakes. So I'm not going to get too downhearted for that, guys. You know, I think again, it's the same kind of message for me as the Wolves game. You know, we made some mistakes tonight. Maybe in terms of substitutions, I wasn't quite convinced with it tonight, but Marcelo Bielsa will learn from this. He'll learn from this. You know, we played against Palace on Saturday. Palace are compact. Palace sit in as well. Palace have a similar threat going forward in terms of Wilfred Zaha. We know what to face with Palace. We will learn from tonight. Marcelo Bielsa will watch this game 2 or 3 times. He will learn from this tonight. He did the exact same from Wolves to Villa. We've got a game coming up in quick succession. I'm not too nervous, guys. We can get this out of our system quickly. Big opportunity. Can we finally end that London hoodoo? Who knows? But let's go into that with confidence. You know, we're not suddenly a poor team because we've lost 1 game of football. You know, we're not suddenly a poor team. You know, lots of teams will lose heavily to Leicester this season. It's just the way it goes. Ultimately, we did some things really well today. I do still think we pressed really well in that second half. And we did improve in that second half, but ultimately, quality tells at times, and Leicester did play well on the day, and we move on, guys. We move on, and we'll learn from it. For me, that's the main message. Make sure you check out Joe's post-match review of the game. Check out the watch-along if you haven't done already. But yeah, we're going to get straight back on it with Palace pre-match content, obviously post-match content, and another watch-along for Palace. Plenty of content coming out in next week. And yeah, guys, I'm going to leave it there anyway. It's a pretty miserable Monday, isn't it? You know, it just feels worse than what it actually is. You know, I think the fact of what's happening in the world right now makes it feel worse. The fact it's winter's coming, you know, it's just cold and everything feels miserable at the minute, guys. But honestly, Saturday is a new opportunity for Leeds United. We have to go there with confidence. We know we're a good team, and let's just go in with no fear. And that's exactly what we're going to do. You very rarely see a Marcelo Bielsa team put in 2 poor performances in a row, and I can't see that happening again. Go into it with confidence. Let's enjoy this season. It's been a great start for us. 10 points from the first 7. We'll have all started taking that at the start. And let's just try and maintain it. Let's just go again on Saturday. And I'm going to leave it there, guys. I've been Oscar Marriott. See you later, guys.